Did they talk? Did they like do interviews the whole time that they were with them? Or something? Or they like mic'd up and they're When did the episode start airing? I think I've seen it. It should start like somewhere. Okay. Yeah. How much longer are they going to be here? Well, they know that here.
How long have they been on?
Do they have the microphone?
Yeah, I'll be interested. I haven't seen any. I mean, they were nervous.
Facebook Live at the end.
Yeah, there's some tough questions too.
It is? Okay, there it is.
Now, if Duke tries to spit on me, Drew, jump in front.
Yeah, I'm always looking out for the spitters.
For the folks that are just joining us now on Facebook Live, we are awaiting the perp walk of 19-year-old Harold Wallace. He's being charged with murder in the shooting of a 22-year-old woman that happened last night. This was in the McDonald's parking lot that's located on Moffett Road. According to police, the victim in this case was shot as she was sitting in her car. The victim was shot as she was sitting in her car, a bystander, when a bullet came from another altercation that was happening elsewhere in that parking lot. We do know that the victim has been identified now as Tamara White, 22-year-old female. Now, police said that she was shot in her car, had other people that were inside the car as well. As they were trying to get away and drive Mrs. White to the hospital, they ended up wrecking. Running into a tree that's located on Spring Hill Avenue in Florence Place. At that time, Miss White was pronounced dead at the scene. 2 other people were injured and taken to the hospital. But because of that incident and the way everything played out, the suspect in this case is now being charged with her murder. Again, he is 19-year-old Harold Wallace. We have not seen him yet, but police say that they will be walking him out imminently. Again, charged with the murder happening last night around 11:30 at the McDonald's parking lot that's at 3119 Moffett Road. And we are in standby mode right now. As police have just finished their interview, we understand, with Mr. Wallace, and have charged him with murder. They say at the time he was trying to shoot at a employee that worked at that McDonald's location. The bullets that were flying instead ended up hitting Mrs. White. No one else was hit in this incident. Wallace did run away on foot, but police say that they were able to apprehend him earlier today. Did you say they were almost ready? At this time, it appears police are still getting ready to transport the suspect. Harold Wallace will be going to Mobile Metro Jail, booked on murder charges from this incident that happened last night at the McDonald's parking lot on Moffett Road, where they say a woman, an innocent bystander, is being described as, was hit by a stray bullet in an altercation that was happening elsewhere in the parking lot. According to police, Harold Wallace was trying to shoot at a different McDonald's employee. The victim was in the parking lot, struck by that bullet. And as they were trying to take her to the hospital, she had some other folks that were in the car. They were trying to make their way to the hospital. Ended up getting into a car accident. They say the driver lost control of the vehicle, crashing into a tree at the corner of Spring Hill and Florence Place. where Miss White, the victim in this case, Tamara White, died in the accident. Police were not originally able to locate Mr. Wallace. They say he ran away on foot after the shooting, but they picked him up some point today. I've been interviewing him and are now determined that the charge of murder is appropriate in this case. And again, he will be taken to Mobile Metro Jail. All right, so we are getting ready to talk to the spokesperson for Mobile Police Department, Charlotte Solis, to give us a little bit more information on what occurred last night and where they're at today in their investigation.
So it sounds like, I mean, like she was a totally innocent bystander here. I mean, she was struck by a stray bullet.
Exactly. There was a dispute between Harold Wallace and a McDonald's employee, and during that dispute, he fired shots, and one of those shots struck Tamara White.
Do we know how many times she was shot, where she was shot, the extent of her injuries?
We do know that she was shot at least once.
And that's all you can say, like where,
exactly.
in terms of where she was shot or anything.
Do you know if the injuries that, the fatal injuries, if those were a result of the shooting or if they were a result of the car accident?
We do know that the shot, when she got shot, that was the initial cause of her death.
So it's not believed that the car accident caused her death. Police believe it's the shot that killed her.
There will be an autopsy performed, and that way we can gather more information and details as to exactly what happened.
Do you have an update on the condition of those people inside that vehicle that crashed into that tree?
They were treated at the hospital and have been released.
And what is their connection to the victim?
They were friends.
Do they have any relationship to the gunman?
That I don't know.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about Mr. Wallace? It sounds like he knew this McDonald's employee that he was shooting at?
Yes, it seems to be that they knew each other, and with the dispute going on, that's pretty much all I can say.
But was the employee, was he able to help lead you guys into making this arrest, the person that was initially being shot at?
We believe that was helped in capturing Harold Wallace.
So interviewing the employee who initially was in this dispute with Wallace is what led to this arrest today?
Based on all the evidence that we've gathered, we're able to make the arrest.
Wallace had no connection to the victim.
We believe there was no connection with Wallace and the victim.
But to the victim, but not any connection. But it's unknown any relationship to the other two people inside the vehicle, right?
Right. Exactly.
Thanks.
Thank you.
How much longer do you think we got? Never mind. Thank you guys. I'm looking for it.
Tomorrow? Tomorrow.
Well, we still see Angel May.
Charlotte, can I steal your sheet again? Thank you. What's that? Harold Wallace? Harold. Harold. An update now for some of the folks that may be joining us now on Facebook Live. We are still waiting on the perp walk of 19-year-old Harold Wallace, the suspect in a shooting that occurred last night. This is at the McDonald's parking lot off of Moffett Road. And he is accused of shooting a young woman, 22-year-old female, who was being described as a bystander in an incident that happened between Wallace and a McDonald's employee. They say that they got into some sort of dispute. Wallace had a gun, began firing shots. One of those bullets struck of the shooting that happened around 11:30. It happened around 11:30 last night. This is on Moffett Road, the McDonald's parking lot. Tried to flee the scene, but at some point, detectives were able to catch up with him today. They've been interviewing him and have now determined they're charging him with murder. Here we go. And again, the suspect, 19-year-old Harold Wallace, charged with murder. There we go. Harold, what happened there?
Why'd you start shooting last night? What made you pull out the gun?
They're saying that you killed a young woman, 22-year-old mother. Anything to say about that?
Did you know it's Mayor White?
We heard police side of the story. Can you tell us anything? What happened to your face?
Anything to say for yourself?
She's got a 1-year-old son.
There's nothing to say, man. You know you killed a young mother?
What about your family? Harold, anything to say to your family?
You regret last night?
And again, that suspect, 19-year-old Harold Wallace, charged with murder in the shooting. 22-year-old mother, who they describe as an innocent bystander. An incident that happened last night, 11:30, in the McDonald's parking lot off of Moffett Road. The victim shot and killed as police have now made that arrest. But as you saw, Mr. Wallace did not have anything to say, nothing in his defense, or in fact just walked away in complete silence. But if you did notice that he did have what appeared to be a gash on his face, at this point it's unclear as whether or not that's related to the incident that happened at all. All right, we're going to go ahead and shut it down now. Go to Biloxi? What's in Biloxi?